till you get cold.
Morning, Holly's Outfitters, Kenneth speaking. Mr. Holly? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm afraid you've just missed it.
Is he down?
So you can't come in there.
I'm the husband.
Matt, it was an accident.
Oh, hi.
You made a start, then? So what do you think?
It's great.
Really?
Garden's good.
It's your place too, you know that?
Yeah, of course. You sorted to clean it.
No, I thought I'd wait for a bit, see how I got on.
What about work? When are you going back?
Well, it's no rush one of these days.
Slacker.
No. Man of leisure.
Clear of the main lane. And emergency bridge repairs are continuing on the A726 Nipsdale Road on the outskirts of Paisley at the Hermit to split its slow traffic. On public transport, 10-6 services are severely disrupted after a major signalling problem at St Albans. Now, tickets will be accepted on Silverlink, West Anglia and London Underground services.
And the winner of yesterday's viewers' question competition was Noel Simpson of Market Harborough, who answered, "What is orchidomania?" correctly. Now, today's viewers' question was set by Alan Bond of Poole, Dorset. And Alan wants to know, what is the collective noun for lapwings? What is the collective noun for lapwings? Call us on 0891 774 791 or... God almighty.
Buildings around us house barristers' chambers where the barristers work. And if you look at the one behind me, which is River Court of 1667, you will see a list of names of the barristers who have their chambers there. That list goes in seniority order, working from the top downwards. The senior member at the top and the latest member at the bottom.
All I'm saying, Tom, is that, Mr. Kavanagh?
Jeremy?
And the junior clerk.
Who's that?
It was, wasn't it?
Yes?
This is, my room. This...
Ah, James, as you've met Miss Taylor, the newest and brightest addition to our sect. Emma Taylor, James Kavanagh, James Emma.
A little month, yet those shoes were old.
Yes. I mean, no, in the circumstances, none of us were expecting.
Evidently. How are the children? Fine. And you? Keen to make a start.
Quite right. We're all I'm very pleased to see you back. Chambers hasn't been the... I'm sure none of us will find the right words.
Forgive us our platitudes as we forgive those who cliché against us. No, it's all right, Peter. Really. Cheers.
Welcome back.
I'll be out your way in a minute.
No rush. Take your time.
You want to make yourself a bit useful, you could help me box up some of this stuff.
How long have you been in Chambers?
A couple of months. Your wife died, Jerry was saying.
Jerry? Oh, yeah. Yes, she did.
It's tough.
Yeah. Are you sure that you've got somewhere?
Yeah, no worries. Jerry said I could doss in with him for a bit.
You're honoured. Jeremy's usually very territorial.
He'll be hoping to get his leg over, I expect. I'll see you about.
Anything for me? As it happens, sir, I've got a nice little long firm fraud. Suit you down to the ground. Guildford. Yeah? All right, back gross indecency, Snaresbrook. Couple of lads from the Rock Savage Rowing Club.
Not the Coxless Pears, obviously.
Well, I did have Mr. Foxcott in mind for that, but...
Haven't you got anything a bit more... I don't know...
Miss Featherstone Hall, pronounced Fanshawe. Looking for a leader, Crown and Crawley.
Fanshawe? She's still here.
Beggars can't be choosers, sir.
Well, I think I'll leave it if it's all the same to you.
Okie dokie. Oh, sir. It's very good to see you.
You too. Tom, this with Fanshawe.
Murder, sir. A bloke called Crawley. Dr. Felix Crawley poisoned his wife, allegedly. She was having an affair, going to leave him, so I did it according to the Crown. The word is the good doctor rumbled this other party's kippers were under the grill. A chap named Holly runs a gents' outfitters in the High Street. Long and short of it is, Crawley slipped a dose of lithium to the good lady wife in her morning cup of Lapsang souchong. Then boom, out go the lights. Crawley's line is he was treating her for manic depression, hence the lithium. He's saying she somehow gave herself an overdose.
Suicide?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the impression she gave when she called the emergency services.
Who's for the Crown?
Mr. Aldermartin's leading Miss Taylor, sir.
Jeremy's? Why didn't you say so, straight off?
Well, sir, I didn't want you to think I was spoiling you. First day back and all.
May I introduce James Kavanagh? Dr. Crawley. Miss Fanshawe is Junior. Felix Crawley. I've arranged tea.
Oh, lovely.
It was about a week after I was charged. I was tidying the bathroom. I put the towels in the linen basket.
That's when you found the painkillers.
In the pocket of Anne's dressing gown.
Yes. Now, you were treating her for manic depression?
Bipolar disorder, yes. I've prepared some notes on that and on the lithium treatment that she ought to read.
Thank you.
Doctor's handwriting, I'm afraid. Did my best to make it legible. If there's anything else you want to know or don't understand.
Thank you.
I didn't do it. I'm sure that's what you hear from all your clients, but it's important that you believe me.
Dr. Crawley, this is no question of it.
I can't convince you. I could never have killed Anne. She was my world. To lose a wife, Mr. Kavanagh, can't tell you.
James. Jeremy.
Emma tells me off for Crawley.
A nice little murder. It's just what the doctor ordered.
Oh, no. Back on the horse and so forth. I think you're terribly brave. It's just, are you sure the horse is the right horse for you to be getting back on the horse with, as it were?
The right horse?
Yes, Emma, Miss Taylor and I, you're on a bit of a roll. Lucky streak and a couple of good wins. When you're hot.
Well, I'll do my best to keep up.
She's very bright. And with the right mentor, we have something of a rapport. Ah, Emma. She's putting the fear of God into James. Crawley. One can never underestimate the public's innate distrust of the medical profession.
Nor of the legal.
What's he like?
It should make a good impression. A life devoted to the service of others. Unblemished record.
Unblemished? What about the GMC inquiry?
Quite.
What GMC inquiry?
I disclosed the relevant papers to Rowena Fanshawe on Monday.
Her name was Radford, Marion Radford, but I don't. I mean, this was 30 years ago.
It doesn't, to my mind, have a direct bearing, but given that the greater part of their case seems to be based on innuendo and prejudice...
Yes, of course. No, I was junior houseman at Kids. She made allegations, impropriety of a sexual nature. Doctors are always vulnerable to that kind of malicious.
You were cleared.
Oh, yes, completely. Still, a thing like that. Doubts cast, however groundless. I'd hoped to specialize. Obstetrics. You can imagine. It was made clear that I might be happier going into general practice. Probably the right result in the end.
We should go.
Members of the jury, you have just taken a solemn oath before God. Like yourselves, Dr. Crawley once took an oath. Not before God. His oath was taken before Apollo the physician, and Aesculapius, and Health, and All Heal. It was an undertaking no less solemn for all that. I refer members of the jury to the Hippocratic or Physician's Oath. One of the promises made by Dr. Crawley was this: I will give no deadly medicine to anyone. No deadly medicine. As you shall hear, Dr. Crawley's promise would one day be broken. Deliberately, methodically, and with clinical precision, Felix Crawley poisoned his wife.
Emergency. Which service do you require? What is your address, caller? Hello? Caller? Where are you? What is the nature of your emergency, caller? Would you repeat that? You did say poisoned. Poisoned. Is that what you said? Caller? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Caller? Hello?
It's my professional opinion that the convulsions and subsequent airway obstruction were caused by lithium poisoning.
Could you tell the court, please, a little bit more about lithium?
It's a drug used most in the treatment of bipolar disorder, an illness characterized by violent mood swings. Lithium is the oldest and most commonly used mood stabilizer. It's fairly easily tolerated by most people and stabilizes 50 to 60% of patients by itself.
How is it administered?
Orally, either in pill or liquid form.
And how safe is it?
It can be extremely toxic. At a therapeutic level, say 0.4 to 1.2 millimoles of lithium per liter of serum, it's safe enough. But at 2 millimoles per liter or above, it would be lethal.
And what was the level of lithium found in Anne Crawley's blood?
2.9 millimoles per liter.
A lethal dose?
Oh, yes.
No further questions? Could you just wait there, please? Mr. Kavanagh may have some questions for you.
Professor Simonovich, are there any instances where a therapeutic dose of lithium can react with another drug to harmful, possibly lethal effect?
I'm sure there are many.
Many? Ibuprofen, for instance?
Yes, but ibuprofen...
Ibuprofen is a painkiller, isn't it? Taken mainly for the relief of muscle pain.
Amongst other things.
Some brand-name pills sold across the counter in any high street advertise themselves as containing ibuprofen. Is that right?
That's correct. However, a patient taking lithium would be advised which drugs to avoid.
But as you said, there are so many. Even something as innocent, everyday as a painkiller could, if combined with a therapeutic dose of lithium, and I want you to be very clear on this point, Professor, a therapeutic dose, prove fatal. It must be difficult for a patient to keep track of all the do's and don'ts, mustn't it?
Difficult, yes, but when their life may depend on it.
Yes. Thank you, Professor.
Professor Simunovich, what other drugs in Anne Crawley's blood, besides lithium, did the toxicology results show?
None.
No other drugs. No further questions.
My lord, if I might ask just one further question.
Very well.
Professor, did you look for ibuprofen when you examined Anne Crawley's blood?
No.
No. No further questions.
I was only trying to help. I appreciate that, but I must insist, all those notes you sent, we've been through all those points in common. Yes. We've marshalled our material. We've decided how we're going to play this. You must let me conduct the case as I think fit. There were one or two points I didn't think you were going to get to.
Mr. Kavanagh does have a plan of attack, Doctor.
I don't wish to appear arrogant, but I think you'll concede I have the greater knowledge when it comes to medical matters.
Dr. Crawley,
Mrs. Lucas, good heavens. Dear lady.
I just wanted to be here. All you did for Alison, least I could do.
Bless you, there was really no need.
He's nothing but good, this man. How they can put him through what they're putting him through is... I won't keep you, I'm sure you... I just wanted to say good luck.
Thank you. Yes, lovely woman. Lost her daughter a year before last. Nice family. Grapefruit crush, please.
I had you down as a dandelion and bird dog man myself.
I like to live dangerously, try new things. Tomorrow I may even have a slush puppy.
You going to Peter's party?
I don't know. Parties. What do you think of Dr. Crawley?
Guilty as hell.
Nurse Gallagher, what sort of a person was Anne Crawley?
Quite quiet, I'd say. Shy. She was, well, not very worldly.
Yes. You said you dealt with her once or twice as a patient. Where was that? At the Moat House surgery, or...?
No, I also help at a local clinic once a month.
She came to you there. What reasons did Mrs. Crawley give for visiting you at the clinic as opposed to the Moat House?
She didn't. But she did ask if her visit would go on her medical records. She seemed concerned that it shouldn't.
What did you treat her for?
She wasn't ill. She came for advice.
Of what nature?
Contraceptive advice. It's a family planning clinic.
Could you expand on that, please?
Well, she really didn't seem to know too much about it. So I took her through the options. Pill, cap, condom, femidom. Explained the pros and cons.
And what decision was reached with regards to what would be best for Mrs. Crawley?
Condoms. I gave her a couple of months' supply of condoms. She said she'd think about the pill.
Nurse Gallagher, did you like Dr. Crawley?
I'd no feelings about him one way or another.
None at all?
No. As I said...
There was friction, wasn't there?
Not on my side.
But you did have a difference of opinion when you first came to the Moat House. Do you remember that?
I don't...
Disagreement about your treatment of some of Dr. Crawley's elderly patients. Does that help you? Dr. Crawley had expressed dissatisfaction with your attitude, that you were offhand with them.
He was wrong.
But you did have words on the subject then.
That came into it. The main cause of our altercation was I'd criticised his housekeeping.
His housekeeping?
I was in part responsible for keeping the drugstore supplied. Dr. Crawley had helped himself to certain drugs without signing for them.
Well, whatever the cause of the disagreement, you admit that there was little love lost between you. Is that right?
Yes. If you must know, I called him Creepy Crawley.
No further questions?
James.
Eleanor.
Oh. For me? How lovely. We're so pleased you could come.
Well, it's good of you to invite me.
Now, who do you know? Claire Fitzsimmons. You must meet Claire. You'll like her. Claire, this is James Kavanagh, one of Peter's colleagues. James, Claire Fitzsimmons. Hello.
How do you do? You know, you can see what he's building towards, of course.
He's fishing for an accident.
Fishing for an accident. Quite. It's still a noble calling.
Well, that's all very well, Peter, but there has to be more to life than picking over the misery of one's fellow human beings.
Really? Well, when you find out what it is, you must let me know.
Ah, splendid. Peter?
Peterkin,
Rowena?
can you?
Well, as long as I don't have to arrange them.
Jeremy helped with Claire's divorce.
In a professional capacity, I hope.
Oh, yes. Peter said if I wanted to find someone who could get blood out of a stone, Jeremy was the man.
Yes, he's the only man I know who can feel an orange in his pocket. What is it you do?
I'm in publishing.
Oh, don't be modest. It's Claire's company.
Women's fiction.
Women's fiction? What is that exactly?
It's about 200,000 a year and a villa in Umbria. Excuse me.
Back in the knife box, Miss Sharp.
I thought you were going to bottle out.
I'm a party animal, eh? Pint of stout and 20 weights. Ah, Peter. There you are.
Well, it is my flat, Jeremy.
Of course. How's he finding it, Bank of the Crease? Making the best of a bad job. I'll get you a plate.
I'm going to stick with the champers, thanks.
Are you?
He's rather brilliant, isn't he? James? Yeah, you know, I met Jeremy. I thought he was really good today. He was really commanding. What's he like to work under? Well, you know, it's, they should call it a unique approach.
Oh, hello.
Eleanor, oh, sorry, would you excuse me?
Jeremy Aldermartin. Ah, la donne mobile. Some enchanted evening. You may eat a stranger. Rowena! Oh, you're looking very...
Am I? Really?
Really? Very. Oh, we haven't really had a chance to have a bit chat, have we?
No.
So glad you could come, James.
Thank you, Peter. I've enjoyed it.
Good night.
You're not going to.
It was lovely, but I really must be making a move. Early start. Thank you both.
Claire's out your way. You couldn't give her a lift.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want you to go to... Oh, James doesn't mind. Do you, James?
No. In fact, I'm running Emma back, too. She's local, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'll get my coat.
Sorry about that.
What are juniors for?
Are you local?
South of the river. Don't worry, I can get a cab.
No, I got you into this.
I'll get my coat.
You play the guitar?
You tell me. We've got a gig coming up tomorrow night. Come down.
Why the hell do you want to be a lawyer if you can do that?
It's not about money. It's about getting the message across.
The message being?
Destroy all monsters and tear down the establishment.
You are the establishment.
Right. With my old man, shift foreman at the local pit.
Ah, coal miner's daughter. So what made you pick on the bar?
1985. My mum standing outside B-Jams with a plastic bucket. Not for money, for food. I thought then, right, if we're going to beat the buggers, we're going to have to do it by their rules.
All I hear, you've certainly been cutting a dash at River Court. You and Jeremy. How are you two...
Just a bit. He seems to have got it into his head we're like a permanent team, you know? Pat and Mike. He's already talking about the next brief.
And you want to spread your favours about a bit?
Well, I'd like to be able to bring something to a case rather than...
Follow my leader. Yes, I remember the feeling. Well, if it's awkward, or have a word with Peter. That's what a head of chambers is for.
Doesn't seem fair to dump my problems on him. I'm a big girl now.
Grasp the nettle. Jeremy's not called Rhino Hide for nothing. Okay. What is it?
Sorry. Sorry, I dismiss her.
I know, love, I know. We all do.
Morning.
You sleep all right?
Fine.
Tea?
Please. Dad, I'm sorry. I was
last night. Bit of a low, you know.
God, Kate, don't apologise.
No, selfish. We're meant to be taking care of you.
You did? I don't need things kept all... I don't want that. Sweetness and light, like it never happened. We all lost your mum. We might feel that in different ways, but... we should do something. 3 of us. Go out somewhere together. We used to do things.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. But we should start. The Tates, proms?
Tournament, motor show, crafts.
Point taken. A friend of mine has got a concert tonight. Pop.
Pop? Hmm.
A fashionable new beat combo, I believe. I thought I might give it a whirl, but...
What?
I'd be happier going with you two.
Mr. Holly, how did you meet Anne Crawley?
We met through Rackets, the Rackets Health Club in Pinner, about 18 months ago. Anne and I were partners in the badminton round-robin mixed doubles.
And that was the first time you met?
It was.
What was your impression of her?
She was lovely, very outgoing, good sense of humour.
And at that stage, there was nothing more to your relationship than the fact that you were partnered in a badminton tournament.
That's right.
How did your relationship develop?
We fell in love.
You fell in love? Yes. When was that?
Difficult to say. It was gradual, I suppose. A gradual realization.
About how long after you first met?
A month, 2 months. She was lonely. She and Dr. Crawley, as she described it, it wasn't much of a marriage.
Not much of a marriage? In what sense?
Well, they were, in her words, companions more than anything.
And what did you take that to mean?
Separate rooms, sort of thing. They didn't have much of a sex life to speak of.
God almighty. How would you describe your affair?
It was very passionate. We didn't, at the start, consummate. Both Anne and I wanted to move the relationship onto something deeper, to express what we felt for each other more fully.
For God's sake!
That's enough.
How serious were you about the relationship?
Very serious, on both sides. As I said, we fell in love.
And how did the fact that Mrs. Crawley was married fit into that?
I asked her to leave him. We talked about moving away, getting a little guest house.
And what was Mrs. Crawley's response?
She said she couldn't.
Why was that?
She was afraid of him.
In what sense afraid?
Of what he might do.
Mr. Holly, I would like you to cast your mind forward now to the day that Anne Crawley died. What did you find when you came home?
I found a message from Anne on the answer phone.
Keith, it's Anne. Look, I've changed my mind. He knows. He's not said anything, but I know he knows. I've packed a case. Can you pick me up? He won't be back before 5. If I don't hear from you, I'll get a cab. Love you.
That was the message. That was Anne.
Yes. What did you take her to mean by he knows?
That Crawley had found out about us, that we were seeing one another.
And what did you do when you heard the message?
It was 7 by then. Oh, when she didn't show by 8, I got worried and went around, but I was too late. Too late. That bastard had killed her. You bastard.
Doctor.
How can you say that?
Oh, no, Dr. Crawley. I can't impress upon you enough the need to maintain your composure.
Composure? I've got to sit there while he says all that?
If you respond, you're playing right into their hands.
Yes, I'm sorry, but you must understand this is the first time I've heard any of this. I hear it, and
I know, but you have to control it. You'll have a chance to repudiate all this once you get into the box.
I'm sorry. I didn't know, you know.
I know.
Anne and him.
No.
I told the police. How can they? To suggest I'd kill her. Poison. Oh, I know it happens. Not poison. I mean, but patients. I've treated patients.
Of course.
Husband finds out she's having an affair, gives her what for? An affair. Screwing. Why dignify it? Affair. As if that somehow.
I don't.
And there's always love, have you noticed? Yeah. You look at any page, love child, love nest, live-in lover, what's it mean? Any bloody slipshod immorality these days, anything goes. Television, pop stars, love. Like that makes it somehow. Good God Almighty, do you think I don't? Someone in my position, it's the same with you. Well, it's not as if the opportunity, is it? Men is the time. I don't have to tell you. You know, throw themselves at you, some of them, like, if you'll forgive my saying so, like that girl of yours.
Girl?
The blonde.
Miss Fanshawe.
You have to be on your guard. Once they get their claws in. Of course. It's flattering. Your good name, reputation, years of hard work. I see it. You know, working, I see the damage. Decent, sensible chaps. Led astray. The misery. Well, you must see it too in the air places.
Yes, I suppose so.
Suppose. Pandora's box, Mr. Kavanagh. Pandora's box. All the evils in the world.
Miss Deans, what was your relationship to Anne Crawley?
She was my aunt.
And how would you describe relations between you?
We were close.
Very close?
I think you've established they were close, Mr. Aldermartin. Let's move on.
As your lordship pleases. How was your aunt's health in general?
Fine.
And her mental health?
She was fine.
How often used you to see her?
Every day.
As often as that?
My school was just round the corner. She let me park my bike in her garage because I had one nicked from school. So I'd just pop in for a cup of tea and a talk. I think she was a bit lonely, because she didn't have any kids, you know. She said if she'd have had a daughter, she'd have wanted her to be just like me.
When did you last see her?
About 3 months before it happened.
3 months? Why was that, when, as you said, you used to see her every day?
It was Uncle Felix. He didn't want me to come round to the house anymore.
Why was that?
I'd been under the weather. He said I was getting Auntie Anne down, depressing her.
How did you feel about your uncle asking you not to come round to the house anymore?
I was upset. I said to him he was lying. It wasn't anything to do with me not being well and getting Auntie Anne down. He didn't want me to come round because of what I heard her say to him.
What was that?
I'd had to stay behind after school one day, and I was late, and when I arrived they were arguing in the garden. And she said to him, "You're killing me."
You're killing me? Yes. What then?
Auntie Anne noticed I'd come in.
And what did Dr. Crawley do?
Nothing. He just looked at me.
Miss Deans, this alleged conversation between your aunt and uncle...
It was a row, not a conversation.
The words, "you're killing me." You're certain those were your aunt's exact words?
Yeah.
Might she not have said, "This is killing me"?
Why would she have said that?
Might not her illness have been the source of her anxiety?
She didn't say it was.
Now, you told the court that it was Dr. Crawley who asked you not to come to the house again.
Yeah.
Was that the truth? Think about that before you answer.
Well, it was Auntie Anne that told me, but she said it was what Uncle Felix wanted.
But you and Dr. Crawley had always got on, hadn't you?
Yeah?
In fact, you were fond of your uncle, weren't you?
Quite liked him.
Your feelings for him went something beyond just quite liked, didn't they?
I don't know what you mean.
Isn't the truth of it that your aunt asked you to stop coming around because you'd made advances towards her husband, your uncle?
That's disgusting.
Advances Dr. Crawley rejected.
You're sick.
You exposed yourself to him in the utility room. That's right, isn't it?
No.
You flirted with him over several weeks, and then you exposed yourself to him in the utility room, but he turned you down.
Me flirt with him? You are joking. It was him wanted me. Following me about the house. Watching me in the garden, sunbathing. Pervert. I'd had enough, so I thought I'd wind him up.
In what way?
Offer it to him on a plate and see what he did.
You exposed your breasts to him.
Gave him a flash, yeah.
How was that?
I'd been having bad cramps, you know. So I asked him to fill my tummy for me. Make sure it wasn't my appendix or something. So when I lifted up my top, I hadn't got a bra on.
And what did Dr. Crawley do?
Went white as a sheet. Said he had something for it in his bag. Some pills or something. It was just an excuse. He couldn't get out of there quick enough.
Are you saying he didn't provide you with any medication?
No, he did.
Then how was that an excuse? The truth is, he was appalled by your behaviour and broached the subject with his wife.
No.
That's why your aunt didn't want you to come to the house again, isn't it? Not some cock and bull story about how your being ill was depressing her.
Look, that's what she told me.
All the rest of it, this you're killing me, it's a malicious fantasy, isn't it? Your way of getting back at Dr. Crawley for having turned you down.
No.
No further questions.
No questions.
Miss Deans, you may leave the witness box. Mr. Aldermartin?
My lord, that is the case of the prosecution. Well, wish she was my niece.
Jeremy, for heaven's sake, she's only 16.
That's as maybe. She's still a saucy little piece.
Hey, less of the piece.
You don't approve, surely.
She stopped the bugger in his tracks, didn't she?
Where's this gig of yours tonight?
This what?
A musical recital, Jeremy.
Yes, I know what a gig is. I just didn't.
What kind of music is it? Well, we don't like pigeonholes, but we're sort of Bangra meets hip-hop, meets garage, meets punk.
What do you call yourselves?
They're called thrash.
Thrash. Very lively. Oh, my, come along, Rowena. What do you think? Should we go along and support our local pop star?
I don't think it would be your scene.
Oh, I don't know. I really like Dire Straits.
So, where's the gig?
Wembley.
Well done.
Did you like it?
Well, it was more their cup of tea than mine.
You were great.
It's well good.
Cheers.
The clientele certainly liked it.
Yeah, they're a lively bunch. Lively. Bunch of deviants and perverts. How can you? I mean, something in a black rubber mask asked me. Well, I shan't go into details, but suffice to say, it involved an enema.
A sea anemone or a wooden anemone?
Did you take him up on it? I most certainly did not. Seriously, I mean, you can't expect to get anywhere at the bar mixing with these type of weirdos.
Oh, come on.
No, Rowena has a point. What would Mr. Justice Halliwell say?
How do you know he wasn't the thing wearing the black rubber mask?
Well, it's getting a bit, I better, Jeremy?
Yes, it is, definitely. Well, have a drink.
Drugs. I'd no idea.
Ali? No way. She'd seen him herself only in the afternoon. Feeling poorly. We put it down to flu.
Of course.
Shivers, sweating. Come 7 o'clock, I called him out. I thought she might have picked something up on her travels, malaria or... I don't know. He flew round.
Message for you. Thank you.
Ordered her an ambulance straight away. I think she was already going by the time he arrived. Couldn't talk.
Sorry, Mr. Lucas. It's from Tom Buckley. Says he's got some papers need your urgent, saying that John's going to send a bike round this afternoon.
Right.
It wasn't until later we found the drugs. Amphetamines. Did I... That's her. That's all, Annie.
Pretty girl.
23. Nothing, is it? We kept her room as it was.
Morning. You all right?
I think so.
May it please your lordship, I call Dr. Felix Crawley. Dr. Crawley, how would you describe your marriage?
Anne and I were very happy. The odd crossword, like any married couple.
But no serious antagonism existed between you.
Oh, good heavens, no.
No, you enjoyed the same normal, healthy relations with your wife as any husband might expect.
Yes, quite normal. In every particular, we had no problems.
What was the state of your wife's mental health?
My wife suffered with bipolar disorder.
And when was your wife first diagnosed as suffering with BD?
About 5 years ago.
Who made that diagnosis?
I did.
And where did you make the diagnosis?
Where? Well, I was living with it. There was no need for her to come to surgery. She was either very up or severely down, and the downs went beyond what might be termed normal depression, staying in bed all day, no interest in anything, talk of suicide.
There is a notion that doctors are not supposed to treat members of their own family. How strictly is that adhered to in your experience?
I don't think you'd find a doctor in the land who hasn't treated someone in his family for something at some time or other.
What form did that treatment take?
Lithium.
We've heard that the therapeutic dose and the toxic dose of lithium are quite close, and that blood checks are advisable in the early stages of treatment to establish a safe level.
That's correct.
Perhaps you could take the court through...
Of course. Anne was quite anxious to keep knowledge of her condition between ourselves. She felt there might be a certain stigma, that people would treat her differently if they knew about it.
Yes, go on.
I drew blood samples and sent them for examination to St. Joe's, our local hospital. From the results, I was able to establish what would constitute a safe dose for Anne.
How was the medication administered?
In liquid form. To begin with, I left it to Anne to take, but she was somewhat erratic and forgetful. So we agreed that I should assume responsibility for making sure that she took it.
How did that work, practically?
I gave her her medication first thing of a morning. That's all there was to it.
All right. What was your knowledge of your wife's relationship with Mr. Holly?
I knew she went to play badminton every week. It was something I encouraged. As for any relationship, I had no idea.
No. How was your wife's health in the week leading up to her death?
She had a tummy upset for a couple of days just before.
Yes, anything else?
She was complaining of back pain, a pulled muscle, she said, done playing badminton.
How bad was it?
She said it was excruciatingly painful.
And how was she treating the injury?
An analgesic spray. I had to do it for her because obviously it hurt to try and reach the spot herself.
What else was she taking for the pain?
Nothing, to my knowledge. I had explained to Anne many times that she had to be careful with painkillers. Some were all right, but she could never remember which to take and which to avoid.
Yes.
So rather than risk it, she took none at all. Apart from my own supplies in my medical bag, we didn't keep any in the house. In this case, however, the pain must have been so severe that she must have got hold of some and taken them.
Yes, pause there. Why do you say she must have got hold of some?
After she died, in the pocket of her dressing gown, I found the remains of a strip of painkillers containing ibuprofen.
Yes. Could the witness be shown Exhibit 9?
Yes, that appears to be the strip I found in the pocket of Anne's dressing gown.
What are they, Doctor?
Painkillers, a strip of 12.
And how many remain in the strip?
2.
Could Exhibit 9 be shown to the members of the jury, please? Dr. Crawley, what effect would taking 10 of those tablets have on your wife's condition?
Well, presuming she didn't take them all at once. If she'd taken 3 or 4 a day, say, for 3 days, they would have reacted with the lithium, raising the level of the drug till it became toxic.
What other factors might have helped to create a fatally toxic level of lithium in her blood?
Dehydration, of course. She would have been dehydrated because of the tummy upset. That's the most significant factor in causing lithium toxicity.
Yes. Now, there's only one other matter I wish to raise with you, and that is your relationship with your niece, Miss Deans.
Oh, yes. On that score, I'd like to lay to rest the notion that I was attracted to her in any sexual way. Nothing could be further from the truth.
How do you think she came by the idea that you were?
Well, I had been keeping a close eye on her, but, and I'm sorry to have to say this, Anne and I had noticed that things had gone missing from the house since Gaynor started leaving her bicycle in the garage.
What sort of things?
Ornaments, then money from Anne's purse.
Bloody liar.
Be quiet.
No, I'm not a thief.
Miss Deans, unless you can contain yourself, I shall have you removed from court.
I'm going anyway. I'm not listening to this.
Mr. Kavanagh.
No further questions, my lord.
Dr. Crawley, you've told the court at some length how you diagnosed and treated your wife for bipolar disorder.
Yes.
Yes. Could the accused be shown Exhibit 17, please? Page 35 in your lordship's bundle.
The members of the jury have copies?
They have, my lord. Could you tell the court what that is, please?
My wife's medical records.
Yes. Would you look at the last entry? Please, your lordship, that is the area towards the end of the document marked in green highlighter.
Yes, I have it.
Dr. Crawley, what is the last date your wife received treatment at the Moat House surgery?
6 years ago.
What was the purpose of the visit?
She appears to have attended for a pap test.
No entries after that date?
No.
I see. Perhaps you'd be so good as to tell the court the first reference to your wife's bipolar disorder.
My wife wasn't diagnosed with BD until the following year.
What are you saying, that there is no reference to your wife suffering from bipolar disorder in her medical notes?
No.
None at all?
No.
It's a serious condition, isn't it?
Yes.
One you would normally expect to find noted in a patient's records. Doctor?
I suppose.
There's no suppose about it. If it had been any other patient, you would have entered it into their medical records, wouldn't you?
Very probably.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Why, then, is there no mention of it in your wife's notes?
As I made clear earlier, my wife didn't want the information broadcast. More for my sake, I suspect, than anything else.
For your sake?
If one of my colleagues had read it, it might have had implications. We didn't want sympathy.
But that's just the sort of information that would have been vital for a colleague to know, isn't it?
I don't follow.
If they'd been treating your wife, it would have been very important for them to know that she was on lithium, wouldn't it?
But no one else to treat her.
Well, they might have. You might have been knocked down by a bus. And if they hadn't known she was on lithium, they might very well have prescribed one of the many medications, ibuprofen, for example, potentially deleterious to her health. Doctor,
Yes, I take your point. But if that had been the case, I'm sure Anne would have had the good sense.
Come, Doctor, there's a much simpler explanation for such a startling omission, isn't there?
Well, I'm sure you'll tell me.
The simple reason that mention of your wife's bipolar disorder is missing from her medical records is because she wasn't, in fact, suffering from any such thing.
No.
She wasn't ill for 5 years. She wasn't ill for 5 days. This story of yours is a nonsense, isn't it?
No.
The fact is, you found out your wife was having an affair.
That is not
She told you
true.
she was going to leave you.
No.
And in a fit of rage and jealousy, you poisoned her.
No.
You chose lithium because it provided the perfect excuse for a scenario of accidental death. That's right, isn't it?
Well, do you think if I'd wanted to kill Anne, I'd have used lithium? I'm a doctor, Mr. Aldermartin. If I'd poisoned Anne, you wouldn't have known about it, believe me. The means of bringing about a death by natural causes are at my hand daily, Mr. Aldermartin. Daily!
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. But as you said at the outset, I took an oath. I swore to devote myself to saving lives, not taking them.
No further questions. My lord, that is the case for the defense.
That's the worst over with. Now we just wait.
Yep.
If we, what am I? It's life, isn't it?
Now is not the time to be thinking about it.
Mr. Kavanagh, one of the worst parts of my job is telling patients they're terminally ill. You can see it, literally see it. The light, the glimmer of hope leaves their eyes. The progress of their illness, they seem to jump a couple of months further down the road, to age, wither, right there in front of you. But for all that, they have a right to know.
It would be life, of course.
I didn't do it. I could tell you now, couldn't I? Theoretically, it wouldn't make any difference to the verdict.
No, but if it was guilty, it might make mitigation difficult.
Well, I didn't do it. For the record.
Sorry, James. Paper's Tom threatening.
Oh, yeah.
Fight's waiting on your signature.
Could I... Thanks.
How does one go back? Can one go back? Work, I mean, after all this.
There'll be another GMC inquiry, I suppose, over you treating your wife.
After the police first talked to me, I had patients asking to move across to other doctors, colleagues at the surgery. Looks, whispers, how can I go back?
Perhaps a move, another practice.
Yes, I thought of that. The coast, perhaps. Torquay. Torbay. But the thought of going on in any fashion without Anne. She was the only woman I've ever loved. How do you cope?
I take each day as it comes. Perhaps you'd better get these back to the bike, hadn't you? You did very well with the prosecution, I thought. The cross-examination. I was a little concerned towards the end.
Really? Which part?
You lost your temper with him. Telling the jury that you could have quite easily killed Anne without anyone ever knowing.
Well, it was insulting.
Insulting?
As if I'd used lithium. You see, the thing about poison, unless you suspect, unless you actually know what you're looking for, you're not going to find it in the normal post-mortem, for example.
No? I would have thought...
Not talking about the big three, the traditional, arsenic, cyanide, strychnine, far too obvious reaction time, symptoms. You see, for someone in my profession, most doctors will tell you, terminally ill patients don't die of the disease. It's usually an overdose. Pain management, we call it now. Diamorphine, like as not, engenders respiratory depression. The doctor's not going to put down cause of death as poisoning, is he?
So, how would you...
Oh, no, well, it would very much depend on the patient, wouldn't it? Insulin's quite effective. Hypoglycemia, insulin shock. Advisable to mask it for the post-mortem, but virtually undetectable if you get the dosage right.
Mask it?
If you're dealing with a younger, otherwise healthy subject, it would make sense to point the pathologist towards something obvious. Street drugs, say. Otherwise, questions might be asked.
So, if you had wanted to, I mean, Alison Lucas would have fitted that.
Alison? Yes, I'd not thought of that before, but amphetamine overdose? Yeah, yes, she would. Theoretically.
Oh, of course.
Modern living, you see. Air stewardess. We know what they're like. Terrible. One moment so full of life and the next... may I?
Of course. It's an interesting inscription. A.L. Alison Lucas.
Yes, it's a keepsake from her parents.
It's an intimate gift to give away. My daughter's 21st birthday present. They must think very highly of you.
Yes, I suppose they must.
Jury's back. Good luck.
Answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you are all agreed?
Yes.
On the charge of murder, do you find the defendant, Felix Crawley, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I spoke with Mrs. Lucas. She said they never gave you Alison's pen. She said it was missing from Alison's room after she died.
Did she?
There were others?
James?
You did poison Alison Lucas, didn't you? Had your wife found out? Is that why you killed her?
I didn't kill Anne. I told you. It was her own stupid fault.
But she suspected something. What was it? Your niece? Your niece had been ill, hadn't she?
Stomach cramps, yeah.
You were poisoning her too? Your wife suspected. Sensed something was wrong, didn't she?
Anne didn't know. About her, about Alison, or any of them.
How many?
1970, 1972, 76, 1980, 86, and Alison.
Why?
Doctors are always vulnerable, Mr. Kavanagh. You dedicate your life, and some woman. I had my reputation to think of. After that bitch, when I was junior houseman. They ruin you. Oh, yeah. Pretend they're available. Lead you on. And then rape. I couldn't let that happen again. What will I do now? Don't know anything else. What am I going to do? It's all men, of course. Inside.
So everything he told you?
Client confidentiality.
God. He could be out in 12, 15 years.
Someone like Crawley, he'll have to tell someone. Show how clever he's been. prison doctor, like as not, a fellow professional. From there, it's just a short step to Broadmoor.
What if he doesn't?
Prison ages a man. I don't see him making 10 years, never mind 12.
Oh, Emma. I've been meaning to, you see, I'm not sure this sharing is going to work.
What about the fraud I've lined up in Blackpool?
Well, I've been thinking about that, and I'm not really sure I'm your man. I mean, fraud.
This wouldn't have anything to do with last night, would it?
Last night? Last night? Oh, good heavens, no. I'm as broad-minded as the next chap. I just fancied a rest from crime, is all.
The papers on the Smith stabbing you. It's all right. I was just leaving. Actually, Jeremy, there's something I need to tell you.
Rowena.
I don't see what's funny. It still leaves me alone and without a leader.
Oh, maybe not. You're never alone on the Strand. What's the case?
A nothing fraud. I don't suppose...
Ah, thought I might find you here. Mind if we,
No. What's up with Laughing Boy?
Don't ask.
I'll get some glasses.
Did you know she was leaving Rivercourt?
Whom?
Rowena Featherstone Huff, pronounced Fanshawe.
Did she say what she was going to do?
Raised little Fanshaws, found a leper colony. Who cares?
She might have mentioned that she'd had an offer from Dryden Court. Time to get out of the criminal sink.
Well, why didn't you mention it to me before I made a complete ass of myself?
Practice makes perfect.
Ah. Emma, about that little fraud of yours.
It's already spoken for. Finders keepers. Cheers.
Cheers.